All right, I just wanted to make this quick little video, for my own record, really, so that I could just remember what the numbers are. Looking at AMD going into earnings, they had announced the official earnings date is going to be February 4th. I don't know why it's not popping up here. There it is. So the official earnings date is going to be February 4th. It looks like we are bottoming out here, and we can get some kind of official confirmation once we cross over the blue here at about 126, which is also going to align nicely with this 124.50. The 124.50 comes back to the 3 week chart, or the 3 year 1 week chart, for like what's considered extremely low. So we're looking at this line here. Oh, I had seen. Oh, what did I see? I was looking at it earlier, so I wanted to make this video so I could remember. See if I can find it. That's not it. It was on a larger time frame. Oh, either way. So if we cross over the tops of here and we break out to something new, then we can start doing something new. So instead of traveling downwards, we can start traveling upwards. We can change the direction that we have been traveling and start something new. The tops of these also align with the moving average. This moving average is the 200-day, which is kind of a large time frame to be working under, 200 days. So if we cross over this, it also aligns nicely with the tops of the trend. And so if we break the top of the trend, then we start a new trend. So we're going to be looking at, say 124.50 here on, that might be, I think it's closed on Monday, so Tuesday it'll be Wednesday. Looking at breaking above here on Wednesday and starting something new, traveling into earnings. So this previous Friday is likely the last Friday we had to buy at the low prices, and now this will still be a low price on the following Friday, which will be the 24th and the 31st, which will be here is the 24th. It's still low. It's just not as low as it has been, but it's still under the $12 mark I had set almost nearly 3 months ago now. But this will be like the lowest price realistically that we would have seen is in this area, and now we should start traveling upwards. So this will be the previous Friday is probably the best buy we would have gotten into, and now it's gonna start moving upwards, and we just have about 2 more Fridays as we travel up. So if we go to a weekly chart, how many Fridays did we get in since October? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we'll likely get 2 more at 12 and 13. So 13 weeks of buying, and then we'll start to climb back up. Not a bad look. Not a bad look at all. All right, let's get those prices in. So we're going to want to break above 124.50, and that'll kind of be the confirmation for getting out of this downward trend if we break out of that 124.50, and then that'll cross over the 200-day moving average. It'll cross up above what is the descending line here of average price, and we'll start traveling up to say 150, 160. The 160 mark will be the very top of the 6 month trend, and if we break out of that, then it's a larger confirmation of AMD as a whole traveling upwards this year, breaking out of the large trend and doing something new, because all of last year it was down. So all of last year it was down. If we get out above this 160, then it's the same value as breaking out of 124.50, where this is like a mini trend here. It lasted 3 months. If we get out of this and then we travel up and then we get out of that 160, then that's going to break this larger trend. Break that larger trend. We may come back down, go up, come down, go up, but this will then start to do this to where we may see 200 by June or so, roughly. It'll set up something new on the larger scale here. If we were to draw this line out, then AMD is still holding an upwards move, and fair value would be about 175 by June, and in the upper range is 200 by June. So we should see this come down, and then we'll see it start to come back up again and come up into this area. Earnings is next week. It should influence us upwards to about the 160, 175 area, and that may be at earnings. It may be progressively over the next month or over the next 2 months. So look for February 4th going into March, where we've bought all of this for very good prices, and then as it starts to come up, we can look for something else to buy and just let this carry. And as it carries up, when it starts to get into a range that can return us a meaningful percent, then we can sell it, especially if it gets up here into the red areas of 195 to whereas March 24th is like 197. So call it 190 to 200 is what we'll be looking for. Some big momentum move to push upwards to something that I wouldn't consider sustainable, the same way I wouldn't consider this sustainable, all the way down here at the deeper green where we've been for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. I consider this to be extremely, extremely good buying areas. And so if we can then get up into here from 177 up to 190 is extremely, extremely good selling areas. And so we're going to want to carry it up into this area and then sell it, which should happen in the next month or two. Going into earnings and going into March, we should see that kind of a move, something roughly like this, where we travel down and then we travel up. This isn't accurate in any way, but this is what we'll be looking for, is the 170. So we can just draw out our selling area here. We're going to be selling in this range. If we find ourselves up there, let me get rid of that. Delete. Okay, well, that wasn't how I had that planned in my mind. So let's draw this out here. And we'll draw this here. I'm going to throw some lines up there. Here we go. Okay, so this is extremely good buying opportunity down in here. And let me get back to this one. This is going to be... this gold line is going to be what is realistically fair value for AMD at 160. And then we want to sell above 160. And we want to sell for what is considered unfair, but that somebody's willing to pay for it. A standard deviation removed from what's considered fair would be 175 to 195, and we want to sell in this area. It would be semi-unrealistic to find ourselves up here, the same way it's rather unrealistic that we find ourselves down this far. So we're taking the gift that they had given us by being able to buy here, but this is an unrealistic pricing at 121. So when we get up into here, it's going to be unrealistic to expect it to go to 215 in the short term. It could do it, somewhere, next year, 2025, somewhere out in here. And it could still go there, but it's not something we're going to hold out for. We're going to take the profits that it offers us for the unfair value that would exist in this area. So it's going to be 175 to 195, potentially 200 as it progresses through time, and we find ourselves in February, we find ourselves in March. 200 becomes more realistic, and we could sell up in that area. If I go to a smaller time frame, we are traveling down. I want a line to see that the break of the trend that we've had. So this, yeah, so we're going to draw that right through here. We'll just give it some random color so that it doesn't contrast with everything else. So, because green means buy, red means sell, and then gold means fair. And so we'll just throw a blue in there, and then we'll go to the 180 day, and this was progressing down this way for a trend that if we break out of here at that 124, that's going to be the start of something new, or we've had a bunch of the same and we want to start something new, and when it breaks out of here, that is something new. So we're going to detail that out and pay attention to it. So we're going to want to break out of this, we're going to want to come up, and we'll be up in this area. And then we may stair step and do something similar to this, just in the inverse, where it goes up then comes down, then goes way up then comes down, then goes way up then comes down. And we're going to want to break out of this larger trend that's progressing through here at 160. And then if we move to another larger time frame so that we can see that as it kind of progresses out, it'll break out of here, come down, break out, come down, go up, go down, go up, down, and come all the way and progress through here. When we break out of here, that's a start of something new. This is like short-term new, and it's showing a when. The when is popping up right here, and then we still have to pay this out as well, which leads me to believe we're going to set something new up here because it wants to pay this out, and this exists at 152. So we're going to come out of the 124, and we have gaps to fill. There's a lot of them. We filled this on Thursday or Friday. Then we have this gap from 125.50 up to 126.75. When they go to fill this gap, it's also going to break out, and that's going to establish us for setting up a new trend, putting us into the progression of something new. And then it's going to want to go fill this gap. There's going to be another stair step. This is also confirming a when that's going to go fill this gap. So everything looks to me like we're setting up for an entirely new trend going into 2025, where we're going to see ourselves start to climb up. Just because some of this is unavoidable. And if it's unavoidable, then it has to go and pay out this gap. It has to go pay this gap and fill that. It has to go fill that. And if it starts this one, it just starts to snowball. And if it does this, then it does break out this trend. If it breaks out this trend, then it's confirming something new. This is going to want to be fulfilled for a when up to 130.94. If it sets this new 130.94, then that is a breakout above this previous top, which is now a higher high. All of it kind of builds in together. So what I would expect to see over the next month and going into earnings is that earnings is going to want to put it at about 160, and this gap is going to want to put it above 125, 126. So if this breaks out, it's going to be breakout 124.50, then gap fill 126, then payout 131, then gap fill 136 to 137.50, and then move up and want to gap fill. Want to move up and pay this off, which is going to be about 150, which is then going to want to gap fill the 155 to 158. And it effectively becomes all unavoidable, that if they're going to do this, then they're going to have to do this, and if they do this, then they have to fill this gap, and if they fill this gap, then they're going to want to have to do this, because it all kind of stacks on top of each other. And then we're going to find ourselves back up here at 160 earnings. 160 is going to break out of the larger downtrend, and then the breakout of the larger downtrend starts something new, and so then we'll find ourselves in a very well structured and fundamentally sound foundation of building up and building up and building up, that it's just something that can't be stopped after it starts snowballing. And then I would expect to find ourselves traveling up through the year to that 175, 190 area. So we can buy this out. It may be 1 or 2 more weeks, especially if earnings is going to be the 4th. Then we get 1 Friday, 2 Fridays, and then the 4th is going to be on Tuesday. So about 2 more weeks, and all of those prices traveling up and traveling up, and just finding ourselves back into something realistic and normal, which would be 165. But then the 165 is a breakout of here, and so then we just find ourselves at 175 to 195 areas, and then we'll be looking to sell. So that's the plan. That's what it looks like. Maybe 2 more weeks. And yeah, that'll be it. That's just reviewing and re-looking at AMD for numbers.